Thank you. And I, too, rise today to celebrate this, the 223rd anniversary of the Constitution. For over 2 centuries ago, 39 founding fathers signed a document that established a framework for the free and brave society that we have in this United States of America. It was in the late 18th century when the 13 colonies were suffering from heavy trade regulations and increasing taxes, whose revenues were being sent back to war-ravaged England. And American colonists were exacerbated what could only be explained today and then as well, taxation without representation. It was John Adams who then described the months that followed as the greatest single effort of national deliberation that the world had ever seen. For our founding fathers made the first modern attempt at a republican democracy in human history. These brave visionaries succeeded in designing a government that would be the model for the free world right up until to the current day. See, our newly ratified Constitution posed a challenge to the age-old political belief, and that was equally distributed powers between 3 branches of government to create a limited form of government with checks and balances, and to facilitate that the states and the people would retain all other power and authority not specifically delegated to those in Washington. It was James Madison, the author of the Constitution, who considered it the tools necessary to enable a government to control the governed, but in the same breath, in the next place, to oblige it to control itself. Unfortunately, the intrinsic values which made our country prosperous nation as it is today have been threatened since the Constitution signing. Our Supreme Court over across the street, once called the guardians of the Constitution by Alexander Hamilton, have removed broad constitutional protections that vastly expanded the powers of the federal government. Big government politicians in this legislative and executive branch have created so many new government bureaucracies that our annual federal spending right now has surpassed 37% of GDP. So what with these and more, the strict constitutional guidelines that our founding fathers put in place are now severely in jeopardy. As a United States Congressman and founder also, as I am, of the Constitution Caucus here in Washington, my goal always has been to keep the Constitution in the forefront in modern-day politics. For without its influence, we do not possess the groundwork needed to keep our country strong and free as we all desire. And it was Abraham Lincoln who famously said, "Don't interfere with any of the Constitution. It is the only safeguard for our liberties." Well, I promise to keep that essential document integrated into our policy decisions, any one that I make. And I look forward to keeping that shining city on a hill as our founding fathers created, that this day 223 years ago. I thank you all, and may God bless America.